What is up, guys, and welcome back to episode number 74 now of the Leeds United career mode. 3 more games in today's episode for you, the first of which we travel to Anfield to take on Liverpool, who are a very good side, both in the game and in real life. They're absolutely flying in real life as well, so it's very good to see. However, at the time of recording this is Sunday night on the 4th of December, and they just threw away a 3-1 lead at Bournemouth and ended up losing 4-3. That's mental. So we take on Liverpool here at Anfield for the first game of today. Then we take on, I do believe, Middlesbrough for the second Prem game, which is a very tough opposition. They seem to cause a lot of problems in recent years. We have managed to come back, I say recent years, I mean recent seasons. It's not been years on FIFA, but they have, taken the lead a couple of times against us in the past, and we managed to come back and win those ones. So I would like us to not have to concede the first goal in the games against them today. But then we take on Atletico Madrid for the all-important decider as to who will go through into the knockout phases of the Champions League as group winners. Right now, we are sat 2 points ahead of Madrid, and it means we only need a draw when we travel over to Spain to take them on, and that will secure our top spot in the league, meaning that we will go through as group winners. So that one is coming up as the end of the episode, or towards the end rather. First though, we go to Anfield and we do take on this Liverpool side, who actually have Renato Sanchez, one of the players that we were looking at signing here to Ellen Road at the start of this season. Chose against it instead to go for the likes of Grimaldo, which you guys suggested. And on top of that, we also look to save a bit of money so that we can make a few more signings. We obviously signed Grimaldo, and then on top of that, we also signed Eric Bailly. So 2 very good signings, both suggested by you guys, and I'm thankful that we didn't get hold of Renato Sanchez and bought those 2 in. But the first chance actually fell Liverpool's way in this one. Nathaniel Klein getting up from right back to take the strike on. Not only that, guys, he is back. And by he, I mean this man. You can see me half-time, we went in, nothing really happened. So I made a change, and we brought back Anthony Martial. He comes on off the bench, rather, I have to say, on the half-time whistle as they make a change as well, bringing on Marco Verratti for Kevin Struat. But Anthony Martial, you can see there, guys, takes his place in the Leeds United team, and he is back from injury to come back and see what he can do. And he actually got involved here as Anwar sent through Ross Barkley, and Lovren brings Barkley down on the edge of the area. And at this point I was thinking, is this a penalty or a free kick? The referee gives him a straight red card. So that means that Liverpool down to 10 men. We're going to struggle in this game against us. Oh, that's the theory of it. But it was just on the edge of the area, and unfortunately not going to be a spot kick here for us. And I probably would have missed it had it been a spot kick. So in the end, we're going to take this free kick and hopefully manage to score in the back of the net, as they did make a change, bringing on Clavan for Shea Ojo. In the end here, we have the free kick. Anwar stood behind it. I give it to Grimaldo, I do believe, though, as he does have quality free kick stats. Put 3 players on it, because I wasn't sure what I was going to do with this one as to whether or not I was going to pass it or try and take the strike on. Renato Sanchez is in the wall. Take the strike on. Grimaldo, the wall jumps early, and it comes back off the top of the crossbar. I was very disappointed to not see it go in the back of the net. Would have been a nice free kick had it have been a little bit lower, and it would have probably ended up rifling that back of the net, but unfortunately it wasn't to be, as it did in fact hit the bar and go over. So 51 minutes in, and we weren't leading in the game, and it meant that, Liverpool then had to come back, and straight from the goal kick there, they play a 1 ball over the top to Markovic. It completely beats my defence. I managed to kick the ball out, though, in the end for a throw-in, as it was then taken by Klein into Markovic, back to Klein. Klein down the right-hand side, does me dirty there, and somehow Eric Bailly misses the header and allows Danny Sturridge to nod Liverpool 1-0 up in the game. So 10 men Liverpool were beating us here at Anfield, and I was absolutely frustrated with Eric Bailly for missing that header. I couldn't tell you how much it annoyed me at the time. But, when you've got a player of Anthony Martial's quality, guys, and obviously when Anthony Martial is playing and not injured, it would just had to be that Anthony Martial would possibly come on and have the last laugh here, as Ross Barkley gives it into Anwar El Ghazi. El Ghazi spins, but unfortunately wasn't able to find that top corner. It was so close to actually finding that top corner. But like I said, when you've got a player of Anthony Martial's quality, and he can come on and do this for you, you just have to, sort of bide your time and wait for it. As Martial got us back on level terms with a lovely finish into the bottom corner on the half volley. A lot of luck involved with the way he got through, but I couldn't tell you how happy I was at the time to be able to put this in the back of the net. I was thrilled, and the fact that we finally got him back from injury, I was even more thrilled about, and I cannot wait to see what he can do come the end of this season in terms of goals, if he doesn't get injured again, that is, of course. But we managed to draw level terms with 10 men at Liverpool. So it meant that I could try and go on to win the game. Of course, it's one of those things. I mean, to go 1-0 down to 10 men, I wasn't too happy about it. But then to get myself back on level terms, and it being Martial as well to come off the bench to do it, I was feeling quite confident. And in 69 minutes, Martial gets another chance for himself and really should have made the score 2-1. But unfortunately, he could only send his effort wide of the post. And into the 90th minute we went. One more chance before the final whistle would blow. Came in the hands of Januzaj, but Januzaj sent his effort wide. And I couldn't quite believe the fact that we weren't ending up with 3 points from the game. But credit to Liverpool, they dug deep and got themselves a 1-1 draw out of today's game. And it could have so easily been a 1-0 win had obviously Martial not been on the bench today, coming back from injury. It could have been so different, this one, and we could have suffered our first defeat in the Premier League this season, but we didn't, and we managed to pick up a 1-1 draw from the game. So I'm very, very happy, to say the least, to get a point out of that game. I would have taken it, and especially when you look at the chances that we had, you know, towards the back end of the game, we probably should have won it. But given the circumstances of going down to 10 men, or rather Liverpool going out to 10 men, and then us coming back to actually get it back to 1-1, I'll take the draw there by every means. But you can see we've got something like a 9-point gap in this Premier League season. And right now, nobody seems to be able to touch us. And this is sentiment to this team that you guys and myself have built. This is just an incredible all-rounded Leeds United squad. And to say the least, I've never really dominated this much with a team, and that's because I never really get to the point of having an outstanding team like this, unless I've started a career mode, of course, with the likes of Barcelona or Real Madrid or something like that. I've never really had a team of this, you know, quality. I've never played a career mode this long to have a team of this quality. It's just insane, and I've never actually sort of played every single game. Sometimes when you sim them, you lose certain games that you should win and stuff like that. So I have, you know, simmed a lot of games in the past, but this is the first career mode where I've really played literally every single game, barring obviously the cups this year, where I'm simming those because they don't matter too much to us. And yeah, this team's absolutely incredible. But you can see here, moving into the second and final Premier League games of today's episode, we take on Middlesbrough at Ellen Road in the snow. It's around a similar time now as well to what we are in current real life situation. I think this was on the 7th of December in game that we actually played this game. You can see after 13 Premier League games, 11 wins and 2 draws with 0 defeats from the 13 Premier League games we've had so far is absolutely insane. But like I said, playing in the snow, we've not really seen it too much in this career mode so far. Best defensive teams is ourselves, of course. We are flying high at the top of the table. Only conceded 5 goals all series long so far, or all season long rather so far. That's the team that we would name. Eric Bailly still retains his place after that mistake that he made against Liverpool to concede that goal against Sturridge. I'm going to say it's a mistake, but at the same time, it probably wasn't. It was just a bit of unluckiness at the fact that he didn't manage to win the header. And at the same time, you know, I shouldn't have given the opportunity for Nathaniel Klein to cross that ball in when he did. But you can see as well, Middlesbrough team actually has Suleimane Dakara up front, the man that we swapped, along with money for the likes of Anwar El Ghazi. So it's very interesting that he obviously starts up front for Middlesbrough today. And Anwar El Ghazi actually starts against his former club as well. But Suso had the first chance in this one, as he should have really made it 1-0 there. A very, very poor effort in the end. It comes here to Adama down this right-hand side for Middlesbrough here as he gets into a position to put the cross across the face of goal. And it falls to Gaston Ramirez, and for the utmost time, again, we see ourselves a goal down to Middlesbrough and have to come from behind against them. And Middlesbrough this year, or this series, have been such a frustrating team to play against. They seem to always just cause me an issue. But we managed to get ourselves back on level terms into the second half, and it was really starting minutes in the second half as we gave it into Anthony Martial, who starts today's game after that heroics against Liverpool last game out. He gets into position to take the strike on, takes it on, and it falls back into the path of Anwar El Ghazi, and he makes it 1-1. So a goal against his former club. He also celebrates it as well. Doesn't even care about the feelings of his former fans here at Middlesbrough, but he celebrates his goal in front of the home crowd at Ellen Road, which is too right as well, because at the end of the day, he's been a Leeds player, for the last 2 seasons or so. So he's rightfully to celebrate that one. It's a very, very swift reply, pretty much into the second half, and Anwar gets it for us as well. So you can see 61 minutes in, Anwar involved in this one again as he feeds it into the path of Anthony Martial, who tries to turn and get a strike away, can't quite manage it as he feeds it back, I do believe, into the path of Ross Barkley. Barkley, though, does in fact manage to get the strike away. It takes a deflection on the way through from the defender, and it goes over the top of Brad Guzan. And for Middlesbrough to go 2-1 down to a goal like that, if that had been the other way around and Middlesbrough scored that against me, I would have been so mad with the game there. But thankfully, it went the other way around, and the Ellen Road crowd were bouncing after that goal, and I couldn't quite believe we've managed to score and make it 2-1 for a goal like that. It was just absolutely insane for it to go in like that, and it was just pretty... I guess it was, one of those things, and I do notice when I get lucky as well, and, I've mentioned it numerous times before, as long as you take your strikes on, there is always that chance that that's going to happen, and it did happen for us there, and we took the lead in this one 64 minutes into it, and 66 minutes in, Middlesbrough here gave the ball away too cheaply, in all honesty, and at this point they were giving the ball away far too easily. We send through Anthony Martial, and look at the pace that Martial has against this tiring Middlesbrough defence. This is what he's been waiting to do since he's been out injured, and a simple finish, a tidy finish at that as well, from the number 7, gets us 3-1 up in this game as well on the score sheet as well. Anthony Martial is. So that's 3 different scorers so far. Barkley, Martial and Anwar El Ghazi. A lovely goal though from Martial. He just shows his pace there to get away from 2 defenders. And he's a very quick forward, of course. Everybody knows about his pace. And And Adam Clayton there, tiring, couldn't quite chase him back. And at the end of the day, it's a very, very comfortable finish for a very, very quality forward. And in terms of that one, it's really, really no sort of... we wouldn't expect anything less from Anthony Martial. If he gets it through one-on-one, he should be scoring those types of goals, and it meant that we were 3-1 up in the game, and at this point we're cruising, but it didn't look that way from the opening start of this one, as Middlesbrough did in fact take the lead. But at this point they sent 2 many men forward, trying to get themselves back in this one, and Grimaldo, using his pace as well, gets into position to put the ball across the face of goal, and Anwar El Ghazi gets his 2nd for the game as well with a header. Very, very comfortable victory in the end by the look of this one. 4-1 up in a game that we were 1-0 down in, and Anwar scores for the 2nd time against his former club here on the day and had an absolute wonderful performance for us up front. So you can see as well, we still had time though for a 5th for ourselves, and Ross Barkley involved in this one, gives it off to Anthony Martial. Martial feeds it into the path of Anwar El Ghazi, who makes the run for him 87 minutes in, and the forward does a low-driven shot, much like Anthony Martial's, and this time Guzan doesn't even move. He knows that that's hitting the back of the net, and a hat-trick for Anwar against his former club means that we were going to win in this game 5-1. A very comfortable win in the end. It didn't look that way, like I said, after the opening goal, after Middlesbrough scored it, but it did mean that we were looking as if it was going to be a very, very commanding performance here. And 5-1 up in the game to then win it at 5-1, pick up another 3 points in the league. And on top of that, Anwar gets a hat-trick for himself as well. He will pick up the match ball for today's game. There he was going over to the referee to collect it, but I didn't let you guys see that, as I did, in fact, stop it in its tracks. But you can see there, by the match facts, we were deserved winners. We absolutely battered Middlesbrough and deservedly got the 3 points out of that game. But I was not interested in the first 2 games. Yes, it was nice to pick up 6 points from the 2 involved, but obviously, the game I am bothered about is this one coming up right now in the Champions League against Atletico Madrid, to see who will go through as group winners and see who will have that first seed playing against a 2nd place team. And I will show you as well the draw after this, so you can see who we will be coming up against. But actually, it's a very, very long way in the future. It's going to be probably about 3 or 4 episodes time before the Champions League knockout phases get underway. So I will show you after this game. Regardless of the result, it means we are through. Obviously, of course, us and Madrid are both through, but we have to see who's going to come out on top and who is going to be playing a group winner in the next round. So you can see here, we're about to get underway in this game, and you can see you're going to see the team in a second as soon as it decides to load here. And I have to say as well, Madrid, even though we've seen them once before in terms of the side, because like I said, last time they didn't have Griezmann or anybody like that, they still have an extremely good side. And if we can beat them, we got a 1-1 draw against them last time, and it was actually a very lucky 1-1 draw because we didn't really play too well. But if we can beat them over, I'm going to call this like a second leg, because obviously that first leg there was 1-1, and they scored an away goal in that one because we took them on at home. I'm going to count this as a second leg, just to really put into perspective and see what we're going to be doing in terms of when we get through to knockout phases. Because if we can beat an Atletico Madrid team over 2 legs, I'm going to call it, and there's no reason why we can't beat some of the better teams in the world. So you can see here, Godin leading the Atletico Madrid team out, and like I said, over 2 legs. I'm going to count this as 2 legs, even though in theory it's not, of course, but I'm just going to do it for the sake of being able to see how we are going to perform. You can see there by the league table, we are currently sat 2 points clear of Atletico Madrid, the exact same goal difference as well. So we just needed to draw this game, and we would go through as group winners. You can see the Atletico Madrid team on your screen right now. Koke, Bender, of course, and a number of players in there that you recognise. Godin, Jimenez, Felipe Luis, Jan Oblak, and I do think they had, obviously, up front, I can't remember his name, Vieto, that's it, Vieto up front. So a very good team nonetheless, as we did look to try and get a commanding performance in here. I actually started our Chinese goalkeeper in goal as well, just to see what he was like. So the first chance for Real Madrid's way, an absolute rocket of a shot going over the bar, but then it came to Roland here in the 14th or 16th minute of the game. He curls one goalwards, and a lovely save from our Chinese goalkeeper, Lu, I think he's called, makes the score still a 0-0. And then from this one, we get ourselves a corner in a position in the 60th minute now, as Ericsson puts in the cross to the back post. Oblak catches it in his hands, and I was very disappointed at first that the chance went astray, but then Jan Oblak kicks the ball out straight to a Leeds United man. We win the header. It comes into the path of Christian Eriksen. Eriksen somehow manages to keep it under control, feeds it into the path of Remy, or tries to. It comes back to Eriksen. Eriksen into, I do believe, Emre Moore. Moore takes the strike on. It's a great save initially by Jan Oblak, but it falls straight into the path of Loic Remy, and Remy makes it Leeds United 1, Atletico Madrid 0. So 64 minutes on the clock. I said we only needed to draw this game, but instead we looked as if we were going to win it here in Spain. You can see the away fans going mental up there in that tier, but you can see as well, I said, I wanted to count this as a basic two-legger just to see what we would do in terms of over 2 legs against Atletico Madrid. We obviously drew 1-1 last time against them, but here we are winning in Spain with an away goal, meaning that if Atletico Madrid didn't score, we would, in theory, if this was a two-legged game, go through, which is absolutely insane. So any team that we come up against in this next knockout phase, we should comfortably, or at least put in a performance against them, to say the least. But we actually got an injury here to 91 rated Joel Green, our highest rated player in this Leeds United team. Unfortunately, is going to be injured now. I think he's actually out for a 7-week period. I think he's got a dislocated shoulder. I'm not sure if I show you it in this episode. It might be next episode that I actually show you it in. But that was all the game had in store. The referee blew the final whistle on 19 minutes. We'd won here against Atletico Madrid, meaning we topped the group going into the knockout phases, and it means that we will play a second-place team rather than a group winner instead. As well, on top of that, look at the match facts, we deserve to win that game. So I'm counting that as a two-leg game, and in theory, if it was a two-leg game, we would go through into the next round. You can see the other results as they came in from other teams there. Madrid winning at Celtic, or home to Celtic rather. Manchester United winning at home to Spartak Moscow. Arsenal as well winning at Wolfsburg, so good results all round for the English teams. The only one that wasn't was a Spurs defeat there, but that was against PSG. You can see, about to show you here, the other group, or the other fixtures in the Champions Cup. We got FC Porto with the other English teams there. Manchester United drawing against Real Madrid. That's going to be an interesting game to see the least. Arsenal drawing against Dortmund as well. How many times have we seen that in the past? And Spurs drawing against Inter Milan. Obviously, formally, last time that happened was when Bale tore them an absolute new one. But the other ones as well, Roma against Atletico Madrid. We could have been playing that Roma team there had we have not won our group. Porto's probably the easiest group, or the easiest game in it, apart from Galatasaray or possibly Monaco. I would have liked those teams as well. PSG taking on Juventus, Barcelona taking on Galatasaray, and Bayern Munich taking on Monaco were the other games to be drawn. So it's a very, very interesting fixtures for the first knockout phases that will happen probably in 3 or 4 episodes time. So you can see we take on Porto. I'm feeling confident about that one. We should, dispatch them quite easily. No disrespect to this Porto team, but I do believe this Leeds United team should easily be able to beat them. So you can see the other teams and what the games look like in the next round. No English team has got really an easy draw, barring Spurs. Maybe Inter Milan have obviously slipped off from the team that they used to be. But the other 2 games in there, Arsenal and Manchester United, both drawing very difficult teams. I think out of all the English teams, we probably have the easiest draw out of all of them. But that's going to wrap up this episode of Career Mode. If you have enjoyed, smash that like button. As always, subscribe if you're new around here. I upload twice a day, 4 o'clock and 6 o'clock PM UK time. So make sure you stick around for that one as well. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this episode. I have been Danny, and I'm out. Adios!